G'day, my name is Sam Marwood. I'm on the board of the Organic and Regenerative Investment Co-operative and also the Managing Director of Cultivate Farms. So this episode that I recorded with Rob Fenton, who's the head teacher at the National Environment Centre, is all focused around education and how do you go about getting started in organic farming and how do you build your skills, where do you go to, who do you talk to, and how you just go about making sure your skills are top-notch when it comes to farming. Rob is a guru in the education space in agroecology and also organic farming. So it was a real pleasure to unpack these questions with Rob. I hope you enjoy. Well, welcome to another episode of How to Make an Organic Farming Movement from Scratch, brought to you by the good people at the Organic and Regenerative Investment Cooperative, otherwise known as Ori Co-op. And I am now speaking with Rob Fenton, who is the head teacher at the National Environment Centre in Albury as part of TAFE, New South Wales. Rob, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries, Sam. Good to see you.
You too, mate. And you were one of the first people I spoke to when I started out on my crazy adventure with Cultivate Farms, and you've joined me as well with this crazy adventure with Ori Co-op as well on the board. So it's
I well remember that first conversation. Yeah.
It was great. It was great to finally meet someone who got what we're trying to do, and I think it's the same thing with Ori Co-op. I think that's why we're on the board, is we get the vision of what's trying to happen here.
Absolutely.
So, Rob, our topic within this theme of creating a movement is organic farm management opportunities. You are the first person most people think of when they think of organic farming and education and supporting the next generation of farmers. So I'm glad I get to spend a bit of time with you and share this with everyone else to unpack that world. So I'm excited, Rob. I'm sure people watching are going to love this. So let's kick it off. What is your passion, mate? What gets you up in the morning?
Oh, well, obviously organic farming, Sam, but there's a reason behind that. We think about natural systems and we think about how many kilometres of rainforest there are in the world or how many areas of desert, but the biggest biome in the world by far these days is farmland. The ecosystems that come out of farmland are the thing that supports the whole world. And unless we get that balance right around how we farm, then our future doesn't look too bright. You know, the whole world relies on those biomes creating ecosystem services to support everything else. Farmland is the biggest one of the lot, and it's got to pull its weight when creating those ecosystem services, and the pathway we're travelling is problematic with that at the moment. Organic farming and agroecology is a pathway to a different way of doing it and allowing that farmland to provide its whole role in the landscape, not just producing food.
I love that concept, because most of the time it's sort of the environment versus humans / productivity. But the more we can bring it together, I think we
have to bring it together. Unless farmland, like I said, it's the biggest biome, and unless we get it right, there's not enough. The rest of the landscape on the earth is not big enough to do it.
Well, I love that answer. So what about specifically with organic farming do you love versus conventional or any other type of farming? Rob, what is there some nuances there that you?
Yeah, because of the way that organic farming connects to the way natural systems work, and so it naturally lends itself to the idea that the farm is an ecosystem. And there's a whole range of outputs and inputs from that ecosystem, not only what we sell at Coles. And organics does that pretty well most of the time.
Love it. So, Rob, touching on our theme, we may as well go straight to the big question right away. Got some thoughts on how we create this social movement around organic farming with what we're doing with Ori Co-op?
Yeah, look, well, first off, organic farming's been going for a long time. And it continues, and I've watched over the 40 years or so I've been involved with it, that it's continually renewing as new people come on board, new energy. So organic farming, it's its greatest strength and its greatest weakness at the same time. We're always reinventing ourselves. That's great because we're growing and finding new paths. The dangerous side of that, or the weakness with that, is that the only way this is actually going to happen, building a new movement, is it's not about farmers, it's about the people that eat the food. Farmers can't make a living unless they've got customers. And so it's important as we grow these new movements and organic changes and heads off in different directions, that it's very, very clear that the important people in this whole thing aren't the farmers but the customers, and they really need to be part of setting the direction. And that is greatest danger. If we're building a new direction for organic farming and agroecology, then unless we take that direction from our customers, we've got a bit of problem in front of us.
That's a really great perspective. I remember growing up on the dairy farm in Central Victoria, and I'd watch the milk tanker come in and out, and I always wondered who the customers were. I always wondered who were the people who bought it, and for some reason in farming, that's common. Most people farmers don't see their customers.
Yep, that's right. And at the moment the organic market's growing brilliantly, and which is wonderful. Which basically means there's more customers out there, but those customers have got to be really, really clear on what organics is. And as organics changes and renews and takes directions, it's got to be very, very clear that everyone's got to be involved in that path, not just a few or not just farmers.
I love it. And I guess coming back to Ori Co-op, I guess that's the driver behind this being a cooperative, is that we want everyone involved in farming.
Absolutely, and that's the greatest thing about Ori Co-op, Sam, is that it involves everyone on board rather than just a small group of farmers or something like that. It's brilliant.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, I want to get stuck into the organic farming education world. And this question here sort of ties into my passion around getting young people on farms. From your experience, who are the type of people who want to become farmers, and specifically organic farmers?
Yeah, we have a very, very typical demographic of students that join us in our organic farming course, and they are young people between the ages of about maybe 24, 25 and maybe 38, 40, something like that have very, very often had some other career, very likely in the city.
Yep.
But understand the imperative for change around our food production systems and want to be involved in that and feel like they're part of that and want to give back to the world in that pathway. So those people are passionate, intelligent, wonderful, wonderful people. And agriculture is so lucky, organic farming in particular, is so lucky to have a group of people like that want to be involved.
That's really interesting. So they've gone off, they've done something else. Maybe, did they originally have a passion for farming maybe when they were growing up, or is it a whole brand new? Yep. Okay.
Well, look, probably or something along the way has triggered them, but they know that there's that's where their passion lies. But as you know as well, as because of our land tenure system in Australia, there's a huge blocker for someone becoming a farmer.
lots of money, is that it, Rob?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, for the last 250 years anyway, individuals have owned pieces of land. For the 60,000 years before that, it wasn't like that. But at the moment, the way land tenure is, unless you own it, it's very, very difficult to somehow take control of it or get engaged in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And hence we could do another segue to the broader concept of Oricol, but we'll pause there. We'll keep unpacking education. Yeah. So let's say I'm in that target market, Rob. I'm in 2024 and 38, and I've said yes, I want to be a farmer. I'm going to be an organic farmer. What are my education opportunities available to me? Where do I go? What's the first thing I do, and where should I head?
Yeah, everyone's a bit different with that, I reckon, Sam. And I think the best thing to do is find out what farming's like first. Farming's a tough gig, and it's also the actual experience of farming is quite different than what often seems from a distance. And so, going out and actually working with organic farmers, even using the woofer scheme or whatever, to double check on your passion is probably not a bad way to start. With all of us with our passions, we always look at them through rose-coloured glasses or green-coloured glasses in this case, and it often pays just to make sure that the practice of it is still suits what you do. In most cases, it still is, and in that case, how do you get the skills and knowledge to take the next step? This is real challenging because if you were going to become a mechanic, you know, diagnosing and fixing, I'm old school, so let's say a carburetor, is the same no matter where you are. Farming's different from one valley to the next, from one region to the next, from one state to the next. And in just around here, I could probably name 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 different forms of farming and different outputs of farming. So it's not a simple thing to say, I've got to go out and teach myself to be a farmer. It's one of the most complex and one of the most variable things there is. And so it's not like learning to fix a carburetor. And that's the first thing people need to realise.
Okay.
Yeah. If we put on top of that the fact that the farming world is changing so rapidly, including climate change, then a lot of the skills that we know, well, the skills I learnt when I went to ag college about 100 years ago, it feels like, are totally different from the skills now. And all that knowledge I learnt back then is totally different as well. And that is changing all the time.
So it sounds like, Rob, to summarise what you just talked about, there's the practical, do you really want to do this? Do you realise how tough and tricky it can be? Then there's and this is probably what you offer with at TAFE New South Wales, is the structured course. But really it feels like this is having that mindset of, I want to get better at being a farmer, an organic farmer. So every spare hour I have, or before I go to bed, I'm going to listen to podcasts, I'm going to watch YouTube videos, I'm going to be online.
Absolutely, Sam.
Is that the key here as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And then talk to people that are involved in the industry, like Co-op and like Cultivate Farms, and to try and build up a picture of what's going on. It is really a complex business, because in organic farming, what you're really doing is managing an ecosystem. And if there's that much to know about ecosystems, really, if we find it right now, we know about that much at the moment. And so you're learning to become an ecologist and work with these variable dynamic systems.
I love it. I was hoping for a really simple answer there, Rob.
Yeah, well, bad luck, mate. I'm sorry. Maybe go to ag college and learn industrial agriculture there.
If you want a simple answer. What I like it. Ooh.
Yeah.
So, talking about aspiring farmers and relating this back to Co-op, how do you see those two worlds coming together? How's Co-op helping the next generation?
Well, that's the thing about Co-op and a number of others as well, I suppose, is that we've got these wonderful, passionate people that have got the potential to be awesome farmers and to be adaptable and think about things in a different way, and yet they live in a different world than the people that own the land. And Co-op and Cultivate Farms and wonderful organisations like that are really there to try and help those two worlds collide. Because if you're a passionate farmer in the middle of the city, and I see it with my students all the time, you've got no idea where to start. How do you go about getting a farm? So really it's about creating those networks and talking to people. And the first step in all that, the first step in this is enabling those people that don't have connections in the industry to create those connections and go out and find something. Otherwise, it's not going to happen at all.
Yeah, brilliant answer. I was going to say a similar thing, Rob. I reckon it's about connecting like-minded people, so you can save time. You don't have to be hunting and trawling around the internet. They're all in one great spot around Co-op, and also I love the idea that Co-op is solving that land acquisition problem. And enabling those good people who want to be able to lease and run the farm to get on and do it.
Absolutely. That's such a wonderful thing, and that as it grows and as people start to become more comfortable with it, who knows, this may be the majority activity in the future, rather than it is at the moment with people owning farms and farming and no one else involved.
That sounds good. I love it. So, Rob, going back to the farmers and people who are aspiring farmers, they come from the city, they've done the education that they want to. Can you unpack, I guess, what you've seen over your career of what a good organic farmer is and what they do day to day, or is there some way how is it measured in some way? How do you know you're a good farmer?
Well, first off, it's got to be realised that if you look at a factory or a business somewhere, the business is there sitting over here, and then there's a manager out here somewhere pulling levers and managing and measuring. That's not really how organic farming and agroecology works. The farmer is inside and a part of that. And so a good organic farmer not only looks but sees, and that skill of seeing what you're looking at is probably the basic skill. And then a good organic farmer also has feels really connected to the systems and the complexity of those systems. If I have it on Greengate Farm at the moment, we've got an animal health problem that we haven't struck before. Now, if I was not an organic farmer, I could go and buy a bottle of poison somewhere and fix it today, but I can't. And the sooner and the more connected and the clearer I see things, the sooner I see that happening, the easier it is to come up with complex solutions to those complex problems. So it's that ability to feel connected and to see what you're looking at is probably the main one.
So is that
to make a good farmer?
Or is that a learned trait, or is it innate? Are some people who just can't be or won't have the knack to do that? What's your sense on that?
I think you can learn it. I think it takes a while. Most people that want to become organic farmers are connected to the environment anyway. That's why they want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's that psychological connection which enables that seeing to happen. So it's very often very quick. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Gives hope. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, this has been great. I've got one more question, and I guess I want to encourage people to, after hearing this, watching this, go and Google and go do some exploring and try and connect with people. So have you got some examples of maybe some great farming operations out there that are online or doing Instagram, or any, should they go to the TAFE New South Wales website, give us a couple of specifics that we should go chase up?
Wow, Sam, that's such a hard question. And the reason why it's such a hard question is that, like I said right at the start of this interview, farming's different in every valley, and there's 50 or 60 different types of farming in that valley as well. So I think it's probably wise to search far and wide. Mm-hmm. It's probably wise to search really closely, because often the really good operators aren't making so much noise about it, and so aren't necessarily that easy to find on social media. Mm-hmm. A bit like me. There's a few people from a previous way of communicating, and so it may not necessarily be on social media, but look hard and try and probably look everywhere to try and get your head around location specific stuff and what it means to be a livestock farmer compared to be a vegetable grower and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's very difficult to say go and check out Joe Blow. He's the dude, because everyone's going to be different.
Okay, but I think they're still hoping that answer, Rob, to get a specific, which I think is get on Instagram and search for people in organic in your area or Facebook.
Absolutely, go to the local farmers markets, do all that sort of stuff, and make contacts in the industry, and whichever way it is, and find them from there.
Yeah, love it.
And generally, because they're passionate just like you, they would love to meet you and talk to you.
Absolutely, and that's what you find, isn't it? Everyone I reach out to, they're like, let's have a coffee, let's have a chat, and I think it's just a matter of you reaching out in the first place. So that's great. So I encourage people to reach out to Ori Co-op. Make sure you get in touch and follow us on social media, and join up as a member. You can email Rob any time of the day. He's happy to answer any questions. Being on the board, I'm happy to as well. But Rob, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate your time. Appreciate all you do for the farming industry as a whole, and it's a pleasure being on the board with you.
Good on you, Sam. Thanks, mate. Same to you.
Speak soon. Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks for your attention. We hope you really enjoyed that interview. We are the Organic and Regenerative Investment Co-operative. We would love for you to sign up, become a member, follow us on all the social media accounts, connect with other like-minded people who want to see organic farming thrive across Australia. Please watch the other videos in our series as well, and share amongst your friends and family. But please do get in contact. We'd love to chat.